I was born and raised in one of the most notorious cults in the world. It was an international religious cult. So for the first 20 years of my life, that was my reality. This cult is best known for all kinds of bad things to children, including child trafficking and words I can't say here. I talk a lot about how heavily scripted most of these kids are, who are especially the ones born and raised in these very controlled environments. They're heavily scripted when they're allowed to go in public or when they have access to the outside world. This is important to understand because if law enforcement or concerned citizens are asking kids questions and looking for specific words or hand signals, and if we don't see those, they're like, oh, everything's fine. Unfortunately, that's not very helpful. Kids who are trapped in these very controlled environments will typically be heavily scripted. That's important because if we're asking them normal questions and we don't understand that they're giving scripted answers, we might assume they're okay and walk away. I've met so many people who saw something, were like, the kid was definitely not okay, but I didn't know what to do, so I kept moving on. That's why I'm still speaking out, so that you can understand more about what's going on and hopefully be better able to help kids in this situation. So this person asked a great question. The context here is that I was saying, okay, I was born and raised all over the world. For 4 years of my childhood, I was in Houston, Texas, and every single week, weekend, etc., I was on the streets, I was in restaurants, I was right in front of people's faces. We call this labor trafficking now. Of course, we didn't call it that at the time. But not one person stopped and asked if I was okay. Not one law enforcement officer or concerned citizen asked if I had eaten that day, much less if I was okay. Now, this is another great question. What if someone had asked you, do you feel safe? I'm only going to speak for me personally, but I'm also going to generalize this information, hoping to help simplify something very complex so that you understand more about what may be going on in a situation. The whole point here is so that we as adults can better understand what might be happening in this situation so we can actually help this kid. Okay, if someone asks me, do I feel safe? The point of asking a kid in these controlled environments questions is not because we're expecting them to tell us what's going on or understand what's going on. Most kids don't know they're being abused, much less trafficked. Okay, now their response, if it's awkward or frozen to a very normal question, that's a red flag. That tells us as the adult, ooh, something's not okay. Now, unfortunately, I can't give you an exact script of exactly what to do and what to say in every single situation. That's what's called a trauma-informed response. Assessing the situation, what's going on here, what would actually be helpful in this situation. I'm not asking you to kidnap the kid, okay? That's not the goal. I know for myself, if someone had asked me, do you feel safe? I think I would have just frozen and been awkward. I don't know how I would have answered that question. Realize safety is a foreign concept to a kid in this very controlled environment. So again, my lack of response, my awkward, scripted, stoic response for a kid, that should be a red flag to the well-meaning adult who's asking that question, right? Again,